I think we're ready to record.
Okay.
Hi. Hello.
Oh,
Buddy,
how-
I have been craving this podcast.
okay.
I've been
Okay.
craving this
Okay.
podcast to
Good.
hear about your
Good.
big trip.
Yeah. I mean, let's not bury the lead there. My daughter and I went to Los Angeles to go to HellmouthCon, and it was awesome, Drew. It was
Okay.
awesome. It
All
was
right.
awesome. It
That's
was
what I
awesome.
really wanted to know. I didn't want you to be disappointed.
No, it was good. It was good. It was a good time.
Okay, so
Uh,
walk me through it. Give me the whole give me
okay.
like everything you guys did.
Okay. Uh, your camera's following your head. It's great. Like I
Yeah,
watched you
sorry,
actually
I got
like
a
look at
text.
the.
Yeah, if I go like this. Whoa. Yep. Pretty cool, right?
Fancy.
AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, so anywho, it was held at Torrance High School, which is where part of the first three seasons, excuse me, were filmed. It's also the high school they used for like Beverly Hills 90210. It's a very famous high school. They used it for a lot of exterior shots and things like that. We stayed like within walking distance of the high school, so we got up and it was Saturday and Sunday. We went. It was a little very disorganized at first. Like they could have used like somebody in charge, like getting our badges and getting our wristbands. That was a nightmare. But once we got in, we basically stuck to the cast member panels, which are like held in the auditorium, and they have a couple people from the cast, and they would ask them questions and open up the fan questions. All of those were really, really good. We had also paid for a photo op on Saturday with Charisma Carpenter. Charisma Carpenter plays Cordelia Chase.
Sure. Daughter's favorite character.
And who she's named after.
Correct.
My daughter's middle name is Cordelia. So we got a photo op with her. They had a pretty good size little vendor hall too. People selling stuff anywhere from actual Buffy collectibles. I got a couple things that have been on my list to get for a while.
Okay, all right, pause there.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of merch?
Okay, so it's very much for nerds, right? So there was one booth in particular, and all they had was Buffy, like things that were sold when Buffy was popular, right? So they had calendars and action figures. I bought a lunchbox from them. The old school metal Buffy the Vampire Slayer lunchbox. They had some people had made handcrafted things. One table was selling crocheted versions of the characters. Lots of Buffy themed jewelry. There was also just general go to an art show kind of crafts there for people to buy. There was one booth that was selling all Firefly stuff, also a Joss Whedon show. So yeah, just lots of just random things. There was a couple authors there that were vaguely, monster related vampire books kind of stuff. I mean, it wasn't huge. I think maybe there was I'm going to say somewhere between 500 and 800 people there. So Saturday, yeah, we did some panels. We did the photo opportunity with Charisma Carpenter. The highlight of Saturday was so one of the episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer is called Once More with Feeling. It is a musical episode. There were some actors there that did a live performance of Once More with Feeling, and it was incredible. Just
Okay.
absolutely incredible. I loved every second of it. I was smiling ear to ear. I was singing along, Drew. It was great. Absolutely great.
Okay.
The highlight Sunday is we paid for a cast member brunch, which is basically they serve you. The food was very mediocre. It was crappy eggs, some potatoes, whatever. But the highlight of it was you were sitting at a table with 8 other people, and they had six or seven cast members, and they would, yeah, exactly, 6, 7, and they would spend 10 minutes at each table, so you got time to talk to them and meet them. Yeah, I mean, I won't bore everybody with all the cast members there, but do you know who Doug Jones is, Drew?
I do not.
Chances are, if you have seen a movie with a tall, skinny person in full makeup, head to toe, it is probably Doug Jones. He was the fish in The Way of Water. He was the fish man in Hellboy. He was the dude with the hands on his hands in Pan's Labyrinth. He was one of the characters in Hocus Pocus in full makeup, like Billy Butcherson. He's the Baron in What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I would die for that man. He is the most like polite, nice, just happy to be there person I have ever met. Just incredibly, just an awesome dude. Yeah. yeah. I should probably put a IMDb for Doug Jones. I think I actually have it open. Yeah, I do.
I would have never known that.
Yeah. I mean, dude, he's been in. Like I said, chances are, if it's a tall, skinny dude in full, like head to toe makeup, it is probably Doug Jones. He's done so many things. Plus he's the Baron in What We Do in the Shadows, and I love the Baron. And the reason he was there is he played a monster in one of the episodes, Hush. So he was there because of that, so we got to meet with a lot of the cast members. It was just a good time. The panels were great. Hearing the actors like talk about the show. Generally, they seem to actually like each other. We kept hearing over and over again how excited they were for things like this because they get to catch up with people and talk to them and whatnot. Andrew, it was really good. Then we spent a day going to like museums and stuff, and then we flew home.
Okay.
Museums and shopping is what we did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But HellmouthCon was really good. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
Now, Arabelle had a good time, I assume.
She did. Yes. Okay. She did. Yeah.
Now, did you guys go to any good restaurants while you were there?
Great.
Because you guys were at an Airbnb, right?
Yes, we stayed in an Airbnb. Yeah, we found some decent we didn't do anything extravagant. She's not a fancy kind of meal person. So the first night, like our Uber driver recommended going down to like the pier. There was like a pier close to Torrance. I can't remember what it's called. It's not one of the famous ones. He's basically said like it's a little less touristy. And we found a good restaurant there. One of the nights, it was Saturday night, we actually went to was it Saturday night or Sunday? It was Sunday because the Stanley Cup Finals were on. And we went to this great little like hole in the wall pizza place in Torrance. Amazing pizza, awful service. Well, in their defense, I think they were way busier than they expected they were going to be. Because they had the Stanley Cup Finals on and also the UFC fight at the White House. Yeah. And the place was packed. Luckily we got a table, but they were just overwhelmed. But the pizza was great. Yeah.
Okay.
It was a good time. Yeah.
Okay, so
flights were easy. Yeah.
So you did it. You did the
thing. We did it.
Would you do it again?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if I'd go every year, but depending on the cast that is there, I would definitely go again. Yeah, 100%. It was good. Yeah, I mean, it's not a huge convention, like I said, maybe 800. I would guess probably around 800 people because that auditorium did get pretty packed in a couple of the panels and stuff. But, it's everybody's there. They had people like pretending to be Sunnydale residents. So there was cheerleaders going around. There was like watchers and vampires and stuff. And like we avoided a lot of like the interactive kind of things. We mostly just sat like in like panel after panel after panel. Maybe if it went again, I would try to do a little bit differently. But for us, just being able, we learned that just like listening to the cast members talk about the show and asking questions and having fun with each other, that's what we enjoyed. We just sat there and listened to them talk and enjoyed it. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, here's the question that I think was up in the air when we talked about this last time. Did your daughter decide to cosplay?
She did not.
Okay.
She did not. But we did talk about what we would do if we went again. So she has some ideas. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I will say a lot of the cosplay there was really good too. A lot of people did some really good, like, deep cut costumes and stuff. So it was good. It's, 9 out of 10 stars. Would recommend to others. Yeah.
Okay. Anything about the experience that you particularly didn't like?
I wish they only had like 3 food trucks there, which I get it. It's only like 800 people. And that was kind of meh. But honestly, like, it was after the whole shenanigans of actually like getting our badge and getting in. After that, it was very well run. Like, some of the panels were a little bit late, but mostly it was because of the talent. Like, they would stay longer. Because, like, you also, like, in the merch hall, you could also stand in line to get, like, autographs and stuff of people. We didn't do any of that. We were like, what are we going to do with an autograph? Nothing. But, yeah, it was good. It was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Okay, buddy. I'm thrilled. I was hoping that you had a good time. It sounds like you and Arabelle did.
I did. I'm still kind of buzzing from it. It was good.
When did you get home?
Tuesday evening.
Okay.
Yeah. So I basically took a day off before and after the trip, and so I was back at work today. So yeah, you can imagine how that was.
Yeah, I can imagine. Are you off tomorrow?
No. Okay. Work tomorrow. Yeah. Yep. So, yeah.
Good. All right. A+.
Yeah, it was good. Good time. I would do it again.
Okay. Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions. I just was super excited to hear about your trip.
Yeah.
I know you've been excited for a while, so
it's really good. Really good. Yeah.
So this next topic, I'm mad.
You're mad. You're mad.
I'm mad.
Why are you mad?
Because I'm really sick of Mar Keasley Brownlee's bullshit.
I've been out. I haven't watched any of his reaction videos or anything to DubDub. I should probably look those up.
So I know that DubDub was happening. I wasn't able to watch anything because I've been in slammed with meetings for work. I didn't get to watch any of it. I did read a couple snippets of things, but it's just like the move now is for people to just like slam on anything Apple does, and I'm just sick of it. Like, you can not like Apple. That's fine.
Yeah, 100%.
But like,
a lot of people don't.
But find something legitimate to complain about. Like, WWDC is not for the normies. It's not for
Mark. It is. Yeah, outside, like, there is a polished, tight, like 60 to 70 minutes that is for public consumption. And then, even then, sometimes, like, they also announce Swift during one of those, like, big keynotes. It's a developer conference, right? They're there to talk about the upcoming features in the operating system so developers can get their apps ready for the next upcoming year. So, yes, I'm with you. It is a developer conference.
Yep. All right. So, the only thing I really know that got play that kind of like hit my news feed and hit TikTok was all of the AI stuff,
yes,
like Siri AI.
That was most of the keynote, to be honest. Yeah. It was like 90% Siri AI and their AI play. Yeah.
Everybody's knee-jerk reaction to that is, oh, it won't work on my phone.
Yeah. I mean, but then again, if you have an old Android phone, you're not running Gemini on your stuff anyway, right?
I know.
Right.
I know.
So
it doesn't bother me. It does not bother me. Doesn't bother me.
No.
I purposely haven't upgraded my phone in the last 2 years because I knew that we were about due for a pretty major update. So, like, I'm okay. I don't care about other people. I've never cared about other people. Yeah, that was the only one that I really know. And you said you have a list kind of in here. Give me like your big ones that you feel strongly about.
Okay, so I mean, I'll pick the things that I'm most excited about. They made some changes to Liquid Glass. Now there's a slider you can make it less glassy. They kind of fixed Mac OS. They fixed like a lot of like the sidebars and the toolbars and the corner radiuses of windows. They did have this one, like, So basically, like, there's one new feature. It's Siri AI. And outside of that, they made lots of small improvements. Apparently, like, things like AirDrop is faster. Moving files on the iPad is faster. Images that you take with your camera show up faster in the Photos app now, right? So just a lot of, like, little, like, improvements. Apparently, one of the big thing I think people will notice is, I'm sure everyone has had this, where, like, you walk away from a Wi-Fi signal using your phone, and then there's like 5 seconds where you can't use your phone because it hasn't switched over. Yes. Apparently they fixed that.
Good.
So, like, things like that. There's also some, like, little things that I think are very interesting. They spent time talking about resizing iPhone apps. Folding phone, right? Bigger. And even things like, if you have the betas, you have the Golden Gate Mac beta and you have the iOS 27 beta on your phone, and you do, like, iPhone mirroring, you actually can, like, make that mirror bigger and pretend it's like a phone that's opened up. It's like your phone, but you can make it bigger. So they're talking about, like, hey, you should really make your iPhone apps respond to any resolution, and here's some tools in Xcode to help you do that. Wink. Things like that. And then, like, most of it is, like, the Siri AI stuff. And I've installed the macOS beta on my Mac Mini, because that's what it's for. That's what I bought it for, was betas. I haven't really played around with it much. It does look nicer. But everything I've heard about the iOS 27 betas, I've heard it's a really stable beta. It feels more like a beta 3 than a beta 1. So that's actually, I may install it at some point here. And everyone, you have to join a wait list to get access to Siri. And they also changed, they basically redid Spotlight and the Spotlight index. So apparently it can take like a couple of weeks for that index to fully rebuild. But apparently once that's done and you got Siri AI, everyone says it's really good.
So instead of just doing Spotlight, you can just, like, talk to it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's more tools for developers to, like, they call it, like, donating your data to the Spotlight index so it can show up. They have more stories around app intents. As an end user, you see the results of app intents because everything that shows up in shortcuts is an app intent, something that the application has exposed for the thing to do. So apparently Siri AI can see those and do things inside of your apps if that is exposed and if the data is there. Yeah, so, like, everyone is saying, like, hey, Siri is good now. That's what they say. Siri is good. It sounds better. It's more responsive.
Gemini,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
It's Gemini.
Yeah. Oh, here's what they have said. So they basically they did some tech talks about this. So they claim none of it is Gemini. None of it. It sounds like they distilled their custom models with Gemini.
Got it. So they basically fine-tuned Gemini.
Yeah, they took their models and used Gemini to fine-tune them and get them. A lot of it does run on, so private cloud compute used to be Apple servers and Apple data centers. Now private cloud compute is
Google,
NVIDIA GPUs, and Google data centers.
Yep. They basically have adopted GCP as their cloud infrastructure.
Yes, 100%. Yep. Yeah. And they were not shy about it. They're basically like, they came out right and said it, like, hey, we've partnered with Google. Google helped us do this. Like, you know, Gemini was the foundation that we were able to achieve these things with. They have some new on-device models. Which one you get depends on how much RAM you have. So if you only have an 8 gig phone, you get a smaller model that uses more of private cloud compute. If you have 12 gigs or more, I guess, it's the larger model. So it does more things on device, but it still can go to private cloud compute for the bigger things. So, I mean, I may install the beta here this weekend and join the wait list. Maybe by next week I'll have an opinion on it. But it looks everything they've shown looks very promising. I've watched a little bit of like the developer story. And this is one interesting thing that I think is really smart that Apple did. So they've always had these things. They called them like the foundation model, like an API against the foundation models. But what they have done is they've kind of made it extensible. So you can plug in any AI provider and use their use one API over top of any, whether it's a local model or external, to allow you to switch, to be able to plug things in, or, I think it's just real smart. Like Apple's kind of, I think, realized that like a lot of like research and stuff happens on Macs now. So they're kind of just embracing that and making it easier. Like, you can bring your own model and plug it in and use the same set of developer APIs for your application.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
So, as a developer, is there any of the developer stuff, like the Swift things or anything about that excite you?
Yeah, because before, as a developer, you really didn't have access to the stuff that ran in private cloud compute. It was just a local on-device model. And the one in iOS 26, it's a very small, very limited model. You can still do some very interesting stuff with it. In fact, like Marco Arment, developer of Overcast, is using it to do transcription for his podcast app. It's very capable, but it is limited, right? So now, as a software developer, you can get access to these larger Apple models and actually like integrate them into your app, which I think is very interesting. Now, there is one thing. So, to get access to private cloud compute, as a developer, you cannot have any application in your developer account that has had more than 2 million downloads. If you have 2 million downloads for an app or more, you are cut off from private cloud compute, period. Hard cut. All of your apps, your whole account. So
basically, go find your own.
Yeah. Now, this could be simply because Apple doesn't have a way to bill for it yet. Maybe they don't fully understand what kind of capacity they're going to need and how much demand they have. So they're kind of just hedging their bets. So maybe that will loosen up if there's enough capacity to deal with it. Maybe it's simply just a matter of, we don't know how to bill you for this yet, and they will figure that out and open it up. So like a lot of the large apps, any app of kind of like any moderate success is not going to have access to private cloud compute as of today. And it's one of those things that, like, what they're saying is, like, if your app is shipped using private cloud compute and you are successful and you hit that 2 million download mark, you're just cut off. Boom. So yeah, at that point you would have to bring your own model into the app to keep that functionality. So I guess that is kind of a gotcha there. But I was out last week. I really didn't have a lot of time to spend with it. There are some like WWDC videos I am interested in watching just to kind of see where things are. But yeah, it looks, and everyone's saying like, okay, so Apple's caught up to where everyone is 2 years ago. Well, yes, you're absolutely right, but they needed to catch up. Like the step one was catching up. So that looks like what they have done. All the things about like asking it like, hey, when does my mom arrive? And it goes, oh, looks in your email and finds that there's the flight information for your mom, and then tells you that you can do things, what's good to eat around there. And it will, all of those LLM videos you've seen, Siri will be able to do that in iOS 27. And it looks like, so if obviously you remember 2 years ago when they announced some of these features and they never shipped them, right? It was all vaporware. And a lot of people were very upset about the videos because none of the demos were kind of shown live. It was very much like cut. If you watch the WWDC videos, you can tell they were aware of that and leaned into it, because anytime anyone did with anything with WWDC, it was a 2-camera setup. One was pointing at them and one was over their shoulder pointing at the camera. And the wait times are still in there. If like there's one video where the guy made a typo and that's in there, like there was no cuts. It was like live shots 1-to-1 from both. You could see his hand move in one, you could see it in the other. They did not speed it up. Like if it took 5 seconds to get the response, you were awkwardly waiting with that dude for 5 seconds on screen for it to come. So they were really aware, like they wanted to show this is real. And like I said, they didn't shy away from saying that they got Google's help. You know, right in the keynote, they were like, hey, we partnership with Google. We use like Google Gemini to refine these models. And it looks like it worked. Whatever they're paying them. I guess the rumor is like $1 billion a year. Probably worth it. Yeah.
Probably not cheap.
No. What I've heard is basically the $1 billion Google gives Apple to be the default search provider in Safari. It's just going right back to Google.
Yep. Just a lot of this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like you give me that money and then I'll give it right back. Which is very trendy these days in AI.
Yeah. Dude, Steve from Gamers Nexus has been on his shit, dude. Have you seen any of his recent videos?
No.
Oh my god, you guys gotta over to that channel and see what they've been making over there, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay. Speaking of other tech stuff, sounds like you had a death in the family.
My Synology is well, for starters, it's on the floor right here beside me, and that's not usually where it goes. I went to access it one morning before I left for LA. I'm like, my Synology's not online. That's weird. And I went over to it and I started looking at the UPS and started to see if it was plugged in. It's like, oh, it's just not running. Oh, it won't turn on.
Okay.
So I've been through many stages of my recognizing that my Synology is dead. Now, granted, it's from like 2018, I think is when I bought it. It's been around. It's been on same original hard drives, pretty much on 24/7. I am not surprised that I knew this day would come. Okay, so I have started looking and doing some research. So oddly enough, Drew, if you start doing enough research, you will find a lot of YouTubers who have my exact same model, whose Synology has died recently, and apparently the biggest cause of failure is the power supply, which is an easy fix.
I was going to say.
Yeah. I have a power supply on order. It'll be here tomorrow. So I will know whether or not my Synology still works tomorrow when my power supply arrives.
I mean, if it just doesn't turn on, that's the first thing I would look at.
Yeah. So that is coming. But it has made me kind of just generally aware of the age of my Synology and my NAS. And I will be replacing it with something at some point. Another stage of this whole thing was, oh my God, our hard drive's fucking expensive right now.
That too.
Like, oh my God. And then like at the same time, like literally the day after mine died, someone I work with reached out for advice because they had a NAS where a four RAID NAS, they lost a drive. They put a new in to rebuild it, and during the rebuild, they lost another drive.
That's not good. That is the ultimate doomsday scenario.
Yeah. So now I'm like, again, granted, like the files that are not replaceable, like my DVD rips, whatever, I don't have a lot of that stuff backed up. But the stuff that I cannot replace, I have been syncing it to B2 in Backblaze. So I have an offsite backup of my NAS. So my data is fine. In fact, like all of the podcast episodes, all of the raw recordings, everything is all in B2. It's all backed up in B2. We're good. We did not lose any of that. But I have started thinking about like, well, I'm going to have to replace it with something. What is that? So I have not decided. I think if I had to buy something today, I'd probably buy one of the Ugreen NASs.
Ugreen. Tell me more.
So they make a lot of like charging equipment and power supplies, and they're the latest newcomer into the market. They do not have all of the features of the other, like it's not feature parity with Synology yet, but the price for the amount of compute and bays beats everybody else, and they are very like tinkerer friendly. So like if you want to do something like the open source like TrueNAS or TrueNAS and what's it, Unraid, some of the open source, yeah, they're perfectly like absolutely like we'll support that. Your warranty's still good. In fact, like our OS comes in a little M2 SSD on the board. If you want to open that up and put your own OS drive in there, great, we support you. Go for it, right? So they're very like they basically saw the backlash of Synology and said, I bet you if we did the opposite thing, people would like us. And it turns out that people are liking them. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, it's not quite feature complete with the Synology stuff, but like it's Linux. They give you SSH access. It's very like they're very big on like, hey, bring your Docker containers. We'll run them on these things pretty easily. So if you want to do something like Cloud Sync, you can just pull down like rclone or rsync and use that. And which I'm perfectly comfortable with. Terminals don't scare me. So I'm kind of thinking about that, but I'm thinking like, well, I probably should get a 6-bay so I can have 2 disk redundancy. And then it's like you start pricing how much 6 hard drive costs, and you're like, this is at least going to be $3,000.
I mean, I'm looking at Micro Center right now, and they have 8 terabyte 7200 RPM Iron Wolf drives for $300.
Yeah. Yeah, but
it's not as bad as I thought, but still.
Mm-hmm. Now I have done research, and apparently Seagates are cheaper than Western Digital, but they're louder.
My NAS is not in the same room as me, so
yeah, mine usually is. Usually it sits right here. Usually you can't hear it, but like I'm like, well, if the price difference isn't that much, maybe I should just get the Western Digitals because they're a little less quiet. But I haven't done anything besides price shopped and looked around and watched some YouTube videos, but keep this will be an ongoing Paul's NAS corner, I guess. This will be an ongoing story as I figure out what I'm going to do. Hopefully this thing comes back to life and I can get like a few more months out of it, but it's just, yeah.
Huh.
Price of the NAS doesn't scare me, but those hard drives.
I'm not familiar with this Ugreen company.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah. And really,
what else do they make?
Yeah, it's really like, Synology, QNAP, Ugreen, or build your own. Those are pretty much the 4 big options today. I don't know. I mean, maybe build your own is something I'll consider. I mean, maybe there's a future Paul takes Drew to Micro Center.
Well, speaking of Micro Center, I've been on my bullshit here too.
Okay, so yeah, did you buy anything since
I bought a lot of things, and I returned a lot of things.
Okay,
so let's talk about it.
Okay, let's talk about it. Okay.
So last episode, I was talking about potentially looking at a DGX Spark, which is NVIDIA's. Mm-hmm. Basically, they call it a desktop supercomputer, where it's got an ARM processor and it has 128 gigs of shared memory. The idea is it's for local AI development, local machine learning development, and it just has a fuck ton of RAM. Okay. So I hemmed and hawed after we recorded, like, should I just go get one and see how it does? Because to level set, in my current server machine here, for lack of a better term, I have 2 graphics cards in there. I have my 5090, which it came with, and I have my old 3090. Now, a 3090, by the way, like a used 3090, are impossible to find. They're still very quick. They have 24 gigs of RAM. They're not super power hungry. So they're still a very, very good card for local inference, image generation, content creation, whatever. So 32 plus 24 is what? 50 some gigs of VRAM, right? And then there's a little bit of overhead for like the OS, because I am running Linux desktop. I'm not running like a true Linux server type scenario. All right. So I have been looking at different large language models, and The problem is you cap out pretty quick. Even on a 32 gig card, you're really only looking at anywhere from 8 to 20 billion parameter models. All the cool models are 80, 120, 200, 300, 800 billion parameters. But once you start getting up into those crazy numbers, you need hundreds of gigabytes of video memory, which as a consumer, I'm just not going to have access to unless I were to like go buy a bunch of video cards. You can do RPC between, you can basically build a compute cluster and configure the runtime to know that it's multi-cluster aware and all this other stuff. But it's just like
connected with like Thunderbolt, so you get fast connection all the way through. Yeah.
Actually, here's a fun fact. So the DGX Spark is designed to run in a cluster.
Mm-hmm.
They don't use FireWire or I'm sorry, they don't use Thunderbolt or USB-C 4 to connect to each other. They actually use SFP.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. For the bandwidth. So like there's actually SFP ports on the back to plug in. So Micro Center sells Sparks. So last weekend, I had a drink at dinner and I thought to myself, let's just go get one. Let's see what happens. I'll put it through its paces. Worst case, I'll return it if it doesn't do what I want. Because I watched some YouTube videos, and while it has a lot of memory, it's not very fast. So unless you're running a bunch of different models or high concurrency workloads where you have multiple people hitting it at the same time, people are like, it works, but it's never going to be as fast as a discrete GPU. Vito's very upset about something up there.
Yes.
So I went and picked one up. It after taxes, it was about $5,000. So
yeah,
a little pricey. They've gone up in price recently. So I took it home, and then I basically spent all day Sunday with it. And I got it plugged in, I got it configured, I installed some models on it, and I wasn't impressed. And I was like, I'm just really not getting the performance that I want out of this.
Especially for that amount of money, right? You want something that honestly probably wows you a little bit.
I could load very large models on it. That worked fine. That worked absolutely great. But I could not actually get decent performance with a large model or a large context. So now I want to go on a slight detour here real quick, and I want to bitch about benchmarks, and I want to bitch about Reddit, and I want to bitch about everybody who tries to tell you what is good enough for different models and different hardware. So you have to understand is that everybody's local setup is different. You have some people that have really, really powerful video cards, but not a lot of system RAM and CPU. You have people that have the opposite. You have people that want to run the smallest possible models on the smallest possible hardware, and they will say, I got this great token per second performance on this one model, and it's like a 4 billion parameter model, right? So it's very, very small. And you will see people talk about tokens per second, time to first token, context window size, all this other stuff. So there's just, what I'm trying to say is all these models are utter bullshit. You're really, what you need to understand is that model big, model need RAM, different frameworks, different memory types, different manufacturers, they all perform differently. There can be differences in performance between one NVIDIA 5090 and another NVIDIA 5090 just because like one is a founder's edition and one is some aftermarket one that is overclocked. So everything is bullshit. Every benchmark you look at, okay? Now, that said, there are legitimate benchmarks that measure model performance in terms of real-world tasks. So, like, for example, I don't know if you're familiar with the website SWE Bench.
I am not.
Okay, so let me just put this in here real quick, because this is, like, kind of important to the conversation. So what this is this is a leaderboard that measures the effectiveness of different software engineering models.
Okay.
And basically, like, out of 100%, how good are they at resolving tasks? Now, you'll notice that obviously Claude and Gemini are up there, but in the drop down, you can pick open source only and change it to all OSS agents, and you can see that like these are the ones that you could run. Okay. And some of them are pretty good. Are they as good as Claude? No, like Claude is like sitting at like a 76, 77% on the SWE bench. But like some of these are pushing 60, 63, 65, 68%. Okay. Now, here's the thing. These are not very small models. Okay. So like the GLM models, pretty fucking big. Minimax is like 180 gig model. So like you're not going to fit that onto most local things. Okay. So if you're willing to compromise a little bit, like some of these are actually not bad. And we're going to come back to this a little bit later. But suffice to say that like when you go online, like you'll go to like the local LLM subreddits and be like, is this a good setup to run Quen? Is this a good setup to run whatever? And everybody's like, everybody has very big opinions about it. And look, everybody's wrong. Everybody's wrong. Here's the thing. You are never going to know how this is going to perform for you because you need to understand the task you're trying to do, the appropriate model that you would need to do it with, the amount of hardware to run that model, and how complex of a task are you asking it to do and how long is it going to take? Because like everything I just said, like time to first token, reasoning, thinking time, tokens per second on the return, all of that matters when it comes to local inference performance, okay? So part of the reason that I did not like the DGX Spark is, yes, I could load a very large coding model into it. Yes, I could host it on my network and I could connect to it with a local coding agent. Yes, I could submit a task. The performance was abysmal. Like, there was a threshold that I was willing to accept, but like just getting it to like spit out a framework of a website, I was like, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Especially when like Claude can do it in like a couple, like, yes. you can one-shot an application in a few minutes. Like, yeah.
Yes. And that's just the thing. I could pay $30 a month to Claude or $5,000 for this, and eventually I'll make my money back, because I'm not constrained on tokens.
Right.
But I mean, that's the thing about local inference is like, I'm not constrained by cloud. I'm not constrained by tokens. I don't have a monthly subscription fee. Those are all things. Okay. So I returned the DGX Spark. But I yearn for more video memory.
Okay.
Now,
did you buy another video card?
So I thought about it.
Oh, okay.
I thought about it.
Thought about it.
But here's the thing. Realistically, the NVIDIA 5090, which is faster than video cards with more memory right now, the going rate for a 5090 right now is like $4,000. So it's damn near what I would have paid for the Spark. And you know me, Paul. I love spending money. I love being financially irresponsible. I really felt bad about buying that DGX Spark and spending that much money. So I said, there's got to be another way to do this. So I was thinking to myself, I got this really nice motherboard, and it has a lot of PCIe lanes. What could I do with that? Now, I know I just said I wasn't going to go buy another 5090, but cost wasn't the only consideration there. Because those video cards are big.
They're big, and they're hot. Big and hot.
They're big. Like, they are 3 or 4 slot cards, meaning they take up a lot of real estate in your case. They also cover up other slots on your motherboard.
Yes, you can't use all the
can't use all the slots. And guess what? That's where the memory goes. So I wasn't about to go out and spend that much more money. In fact, even the smaller video cards, because remember, I have the 3090. I've got 24 more gigs of VRAM right there. So, but I want more.
Yeah.
So I did some thinking.
Okay.
And I found something interesting that when I realized the implications of it, it was perfect for me.
All right. So we have a link here. This is a link to AMD's website, AMD Radeon AI Pro Graphics. Scalable performance that performs.
I'm preparing to send you a picture.
Okay.
But you keep reading.
Okay, so I see them. There are 4 stacked in there. So these are obviously
dual slot video cards that have 32 gigs of RAM.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Now, so 32 is more than 24. So
that is true.
After I returned the DGX Spark, I went over to where, by the way, Micro Center is currently being remodeled. Nothing is where it is supposed to be. It really gives me a lot of anxiety.
Okay, I have seen the advertisements that they're open during remodeling. I have not been there, but yeah.
It's much brighter and smells better in there now.
Okay.
That's all I really have to say about it.
Will it be nicer when they're done?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. They got rid of all the crummy carpet.
Yeah,
it's gonna be way better lit. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Anyway, so I went over there and I was like, I want one of these cards. Now, again, slight deviation here. Let's talk about how your computer takes a prompt and submits it to an LLM running locally. There is a software layer in between there. The most common one that you'll hear, because they are the market leaders, is NVIDIA has CUDA.
Yeah.
CUDA is the runtime that basically handles all of the compute and memory interactions between a software interface that like hosts the model. It takes care of loading it into memory management, context management, encoding and decoding the tokens and sending them back and forth between the hardware. That is usually referred to as a runtime, and CUDA is just one runtime. For example, you can also have pure CPU runtimes. They're very, very slow, right? Because they're not running on GPU hardware, but that's another choice. And there is a interface here called Llama CPP, right? And what this is this is sort of the granddaddy of what is used for talking to LLMs. Now, the way you typically get this to work is you would go grab the source code, and depending on what you want to use it with, you compile it. So if you're using it with an NVIDIA graphics card, you will compile it with NVIDIA flags. If you were going to use this on a Mac with Metal, you could tell it to compile for Metal. If you wanted to use it with AMD, you can have it compile with Vulkan, or you can have it compile with their ROCm architecture, which is like their competitor to CUDA. Okay. The problem is I have mixed graphics card.
Yes. Okay.
I have an AMD and I have an NVIDIA card now. Okay. So I get it home, get it all plugged in, get it all booted up, get all the drivers installed, get everything ready to go. How do I get 64 gigs of video RAM? Well, now I'm going to give you a plug for my favorite utility, and I've probably talked about this before, and that is this program called LM Studio.
Yes, I remember this. Yes, yep.
This program is so freaking good. It's so good. It takes care of managing all of the dependencies. It takes care of downloading and organizing your models. It also lets you effortlessly swap between runtimes.
Okay.
And Vulkan supports NVIDIA and AMD.
Okay.
Is it as fast as CUDA? No. But I can now load models greater than, 32 gigs or 48 gigs into LM Studio using Vulkan, and bam, I now have 64 gigs of total LLM memory to use.
Okay, so how much? Two questions. One, how much do these AMD Radeon AI Pro graphics cards cost? And two, could you put more of these in your computer?
Okay, so let's take that one at a time. Okay, so right now, the one that I bought at Micro Center is this guy. Now, I told you that a 5090 goes for about $4,000.
It now. Oh. That's only $1,500.
And that's one of the more expensive models.
Okay.
They're anywhere between $1,400 and $1,200.
Okay.
Okay. So 32 gigs of GDDR6, PCIe 5.0, 32 gigs of RAM. All I'm trying to do is just memory max. Okay. So again, slight detour here. When you load a model for inference, the total size of the model is only one part of the equation. Do you know what else is important?
I don't.
Context size.
Okay, I was gonna guess context. So you need to basically allocate memory to be able to hold the context.
Correct.
Okay.
So for example, if I want to do coding tasks, the size of my context matters.
Yes. Yeah.
So if I want to load up a particular model, let's say the model itself is 48 gigs. That assumes that I have a very, very small context window. If I want to have a 200,000 token context window, it might not be 48 gigs. It might be 70 gigs. It might be 80 gigs, depending on the model architecture. And like, I'm not going to go off on a tangent between quantizations and FP6 and NPV4, all the different types of models. Like, go watch YouTube. That's not like, I'm not smart enough to describe it properly, but just having enough to fit the model in memory isn't enough. Context matters, and you need more memory. So let's go back to your second question.
Can you put more of these into your computer? Am I gonna get a picture here? Grab my phone. Okay, here we go. There is 2 of those suckers in there, isn't there?
2 of those in there. So it's a tight fit. These things are designed to butt up against each other, because if you look at the picture on Micro Center, it is not a card like the NVIDIA card that has the fans and the huge heat sinks. This is a blower card.
So it blows out.
The fan spins and it blows it straight out. The NVIDIA card has fans that blow onto the heat sink and try to vent it out. Now, if you look at that picture in there, there's probably something you notice. I got a lot of shit crammed in there.
You have a lot of shit crammed in there,
Not a lot of space for that heat to go.
Yeah, I don't think, so is it open on that all the time for heat?
No.
No, okay.
So here's the thing. When I'm just doing regular inference, it really doesn't get that hot. But what I can now do is, because I have 64 total gigs between the AMD cards and 32 on the NVIDIA, I can do really cool stuff with inference to where I can have it do image generation at the same time. So I can be chatting with my LLM,
multimodal,
and I could submit a picture of, like, I want my website to look like this, and the NVIDIA card can do all the vision stuff. The AMD cards can do all the inference.
Okay.
So now we're rocking with, between all 3 cards, 96 gigs of, 96 gigs of total VRAM in my PC now.
Okay.
And it works beautifully. So now that I got it all set up and I put it through its paces, it was time to do a real world test to see, is this going to be all worth it? Because right now, out of pocket, between the 2 video cards, I'm out of pocket about $2,800 instead of the $5,000 for the Spark. Okay. I have not as much video memory, but I spend considerably less, and it's faster. Okay.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do a real world task. So what I did is, in LM Studio, I fired up this model. So this is Qwen 3 Coder Next. This is kind of regarded as one of the best, if not the best, open source coding models out there. And it is an 80 billion parameter model.
Hey.
So I loaded that bad boy up. It fit on both of my AMD cards. I gave it max context, which is about 250,000 tokens. Okay. Now I need a way to actually have an agent that writes code against it.
Yes.
Well, open source to the rescue. So what a lot of coding agents can do is they can point to basically any OpenAI compatible endpoint.
Right. Okay.
But I decided to give OpenCode a spin.
Okay.
So what's OpenCode? It's Claude. right? It is basically a CLI. They do have a desktop app in beta. And this can also talk to Claude. It can talk to any model you want, whether it's a Frontier model, local model, whatever, where it basically does the same thing. So what I did is today, when I was supposed to be working, I got all this loaded up. I put this in plan mode, and I basically described to it a website that I wanted to build. What I wanted was just a very, very simple website built in JavaScript. And I wanted it to basically have a status bar that showed the different services running on my computer and whether or not they were reachable. So, for example, LM Studio, right? Yeah. One of the nice things about LM Studio is not only is it a GUI for talking to an LLM, it also has a server component. And that's what I use to host the LLM, so OpenCode talks to that. You basically go to developer mode, start the server, generate a key, load a model through it, and it exposes OpenAI compatible endpoints. So I load all that up. Tied that to, and like I described what I wanted to it. It asked me and the model asked me a bunch of questions. Well, how do you want to handle this? And do you want this
some reasoning? Yeah,
it's reasoning. It's asking me questions. So it used, by the time I was all said and done, it had used less than 50% of that total context. It took about 90 minutes for me to get a working app. And when I say that, it spit out the application pretty quick, but it didn't work right away.
Yeah, right? So you had to iterate a few times.
I had to iterate a few times because, like, first it wasn't rendering anything, and I was like, and I went to the model, and I'm like, the screen is blank, nothing is rendering. Can you check for errors? And it like pulled it up. Yeah. It was like, oh yeah, I see. I don't like the CSS wasn't attached. Right?
That happens with Claude. Like you're like, you're not done. Did you test this? It doesn't work.
Yeah. It built every API backend route. It built everything, but it was just like blank screen. I'm like, all right. So had to iterate a few times. Had to type in a few more prompts. I did run into an error with OpenCode where it like just forgot how to write files for a minute, but that's okay. We got past that, figured out what was wrong with that. And now I got a working app to where I can add services like Plex, LM Studio, my Docker containers that run different services. And it's this nice little dashboard, and it basically tells me, hey, is that service up or not? And that took me about 90 minutes today.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so this is pretty rad. Now, don't be like me. Right? I'm not doing this enough that this is cost effective or is going to earn me all my money back in anytime soon. Absolutely not. But I think that everybody is starting to realize that token maxing can be expensive. And if you want the privacy, if you want the security, and you have some money to spend where you're willing to do a little bit of outlay, you can get Claude at home. You can do this, right? And like if I were to rip out my 5090 out of my case, I could slam in 64 more gigs of these cards. I'm not sure I want to.
Okay.
I'm not sure I want to because having the 5090 for image generation, which is still something I mess with, right? I'm not quite ready to give that up yet. Now, I could take the 5090 out of there and put it in my gaming PC because I don't have a 5090 in there. So it's like it's going to go to waste.
Right.
But I'm not thinking that.
Okay. Yeah.
So these have all been very, very good tools. Now, if you go back to that SWE leader bench, some of these really big models, like the Ling Z and Kimi K2, and some of the Minimax stuff, like I could load those. It would be some CPU offloading. It'd be dog shit slow, but I could do it. I could do it. And I'm also playing with some other models like GLM5. DeepSeek apparently can do some of this too. Like there's a couple DeepSeek models that I can run. So I'm going to play with some other models, but I had a really, really good time with the Quencoder Next. That worked really, really well.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's kind of that's the kind of the bullshit I've been up to. Now there is a footnote to this story.
Okay.
You might be wondering, Drew, you said you had a 3090.
And where did that go?
Where did that go?
Where did that go, Drew?
You sort of You sort of stole my thunder a little.
Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, you got an external GPU enclosure. Is that hooked up to your machine too? Like,
Not yet.
not yet.
So
Okay.
I have this. I have it all. Like it. So first of all, tell people what this is.
This is a Razer Core X V2 external graphics enclosure, eGPU. It's designed, you put a GPU in there. I was briefly toying around with these as part of my handheld phase. It never really worked out for me. But basically, it's an enclosure. You put a power supply, or sometimes they have power supply in them, a GPU, hook it all up, and then it connects to your device, usually via Thunderbolt for the bandwidth, though there are some proprietary, like, doesn't Razer have, like, their own option, like, sometimes?
So
but,
no.
Yeah, this one is Thunderbolt 4 and 5. Yeah.
Okay, so I got this. I got it all hooked up. I haven't played with it yet, but there's one thing that I'm concerned about. So my motherboard supports USB 4.
Okay.
Which is not the same as Thunderbolt. It's
is
still
not.
It's still pretty high bandwidth. I don't know how that's going to work, if it's going to be performant or not. But so it does require a PSU. You basically throw that in there and turn it on. And you actually have to hook up like your ATX power to it, and another like 8-pin connector, and then the connectors for the graphics card. But then you turn it on and it connects via USB or Thunderbolt. Like I said, my motherboard does not have Thunderbolt.
It looks like Thunderbolt 4 and USB 4 have the same bandwidth, 40 gigs.
Yeah. Up to 40 gigs.
Yeah, exactly. Up. Thunderbolt increases that up to 80, but it looks like there's also 120 if it's unidirectional. Yeah.
Now, put that in perspective. Like, native system bus is hundreds of gigabytes, right?
Way, way faster. Yeah.
So the real question is, will I get decent
Will it be worth
performance? Will it be worth it? Now, I didn't pay this much for it. On Amazon, it's $349. I think I paid a little less than $300 at Micro Center for it.
Okay.
So maybe this is sunk cost, but I would love to be able to get access to that extra 24 gigs if I could get it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll throw it in another computer and do something else with it. But
yeah.
So that to be continued, because I haven't really played with this sufficiently yet. So,
awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you found those AMD cards. That looks like a pretty good
it does
performance
really
to price.
Well. Yeah. It's ridiculous, right? Like for 32, I basically added 64 gigs of video RAM to my computer for less than $3,000, and again, using the Vulkan runtime at LM Studio, like I was getting 40 or 50 tokens per second with that Quen model. Like it was plenty fast. It was plenty fast for what I was doing.
That's awesome.
So, yeah. So that's been my big science experiment. I'm pretty well pleased.
Good. Nice. That's excellent.
Yep.
Cool.
Well, that's a show, huh?
We did a show. We made it.
Show.
Yeah. Yep. You know what I'm going to say? Doingthebest.com. You can find all the show notes, all the links. And hey, thanks for listening.